Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Mary Esther Gilbert, nutritional physiologist, holistic nutritional healing specialist, and a whole host of other things. But I want to welcome you back. Tonight, we are going to talk about a very, very popular subject, which is chocolate. Now, there's good and there's bad when it comes to chocolate. So tonight, we're going to find out, we're going to explore what the science has said about which chocolate would be very beneficial for your health and which chocolate you should definitely stay away from. It's kind of like stevia. You know, there's good stevia and bad stevia, and we'll probably do another call on that sometime on a whole bunch of other things. But anyhow, welcome everyone. This is going to be broadcasted on YouTube channel, but I'm addressing my members here. I have my members and a guest who are here with me tonight. I am currently recruiting member subscribers for the True Health Mastery Institute of Holistic Personal Health Management, and I will have the links below so that you can click on those and explore what the Institute is all about. So if you want to truly master your health, this is the way to go. I've been doing this for 4.5 decades. I know I keep saying that at every call, but I want people to know how long I've been studying the nutritional physiology of the human body and how nutrients interact, including things that don't belong in the body. We're so exposed to so many synthetics and toxins, and the world is so stressful for everyone. We're actually producing stress biochemicals that help diminish our health. So this is the things that I want to talk to my members about, and to anyone who is considering joining the True Health Mastery Institute. You will truly learn everything you need to know to master your health. I should know I've been applying everything I've learned to my own health, and I'm not bragging. I'm just very happy to say that it works. You know, I feel so youthful and strong and everything. I've applied everything. And yeah, it takes a lot of commitment, takes a lot of work, but it's worth it when you don't have any health issues, right? And unfortunately, people have not known about this. It's been hidden from the public for so long. And I'm here to get it out in the open. There's a few people out there right now who are also doing this, but there's too few and far between. So my goal is to get you educated so that you can become the true master of your health and just be a vibrant example to people, to everyone you meet out there. All right, so let's get into the chocolate. What do you ladies think? Getting into the
Yes,
chocolate right now?
let's go for the
I see a
chocolate.
thumbs up. Oh yeah, Yvette says go for the chocolate. Yeah, you know, it's going
Hmm.
to make you crave chocolate after this. But hopefully you'll go out and get the right kind so that it does not affect your health in any detrimental way. All right, so I'm going to share my screen at the moment. And yeah, we were talking about another individual right now with Ruth, about another person who is kind of doing the same thing that I'm doing out there. So I was saying, wow, he's pretty cute. I wonder if he's single. But anyhow, that's just a little joke. Okay, so I'm going to just get out of that one and save my, take my foot out of my mouth here. And I'm going to share my document here. So this isn't a formal document that I would normally, publish. It's going to just be a jumble of notes, really. And actually, you know, members, I'm addressing you now. Uh, I will go ahead and go back to the previous ones and just clean up these documents and post them behind behind the wall where the institute is, where you have your own, back office or your account. So these will be accessible to members as well. How do you feel about that?
Sounds
Everybody
good.
Hmm.
okay with that?
Mhm.
Yes.
I think that's only fair. And also the videos that I've been recording, that's going to go in the back office too, because eventually, to viewers out there, I will not be providing the whole entire, uh, you know, session here with the members because they are paying, subscribers. So I will be providing the public with just a taste of what we'll be going through, and then I will turn off the camera and then continue on for exclusivity for the paying members. So that's only fair, right? There's information I want the public to know, but the Institute is based on dependent totally on memberships. So we're going to be, doing both things, trying to do this balancing act, because I want to get the information out to the public, but I also want to treat my special exclusive members to, extra things that they deserve. There's so many perks that I want to offer to members, which is why I'm encouraging everyone out there to just join and be a member. You'll be so glad you did. It's a month to month, very affordable, monthly fee. And so you can stop at any time. I'm not going to just have people just join for months at a time or a year and then not have people, end up showing up. That's not really fair to everyone, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
enough of that. All right, let's go into the chocolate, good or bad. All right, so there's two different kinds of chocolate. One of them is the cacao, which is raw and unroasted. It's very important to eat raw foods for their enzyme action content. Enzymes are the catalysts that make every single cellular, biological, bodily process continue on, a perpetuation of being alive. So we need enzymes. We need the raw enzymes in raw foods. So it's best to try to get a product that is raw and unroasted. So that refers to the cacao beans harvested from the cacao tree. And they undergo minimal processing. There's all kinds of cacao products. There's cacao powder, and it just undergoes a minimal, processing, and it retains more of the bean's natural nutrients and flavor. So it's all about the flavor. Flavor. Now, cacao has a more intense bitter flavor than cocoa. So it's nutrient rich and it's considered a good source of antioxidants, flavonoids, and minerals. And those who have been following my work for a while, if you're not already familiar with these terms, you can easily do a quick search on the internet, or you can go into my website and you can explore the books that I've written and the articles that I've written as if you join as a True Health Mastery member. So you can find out what all these different terms are. Now, the cocoa, that's a little bit different. It's roasted. So they take the cacao, they roast it, and it's this roasting process changes the flavor and alters some of the nutrients in the beans. That's what processing does. It's heat processed. It destroys a lot of the vitamins and the active mineral complexes that are in plants, and it's also it destroys or not destroys, but it alters the molecular structure of the healthy fats. And you don't want altered fats. You want the molecules from the essential fats that are so important for the nervous system and all kinds of things in the body. You don't want them to be altered by heat. So it's best to just eat the raw cacao or buy the product that has not been processed. So anyway, the flavor, it has a milder, sweeter flavor, and it's pretty ideal for baking and making hot chocolate, things like that. Whereas the cacao, you can certainly do the same thing, but just add your own sweeteners and vary the kinds of sweeteners that are out there to vary the taste. And you can add your own, like spices like cinnamon and all these other things that are so wonderful that go with chocolate. So cacao is widely used in baking hot chocolate and making chocolate products. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take you, like I usually do, to the peer-reviewed scientific research that's done all over the world. And so you will see what scientists from around the world have found the nutritional value and the health benefits of the cacao. So let's go ahead. Now, this one is going to be about the cocoa. So let's see what they say about that. I just pulled a few scientific studies the other day, and I thought we would just go through them together and just skim them, because a lot of these studies are very extensive. So I don't want to sit here and read them to you all the time. I will read sections of it, which is very important. It'll give you an idea of what the study is about. And I always post the links to these studies, so you don't have to worry about, doing a screenshot or anything like that. Once the video on my YouTube channel is produced, then you'll see all the links that we used in these calls. Alrighty, so obesity, that remains a major health problem. Now, we're not just talking about overweight. We're talking about the health issues that come with it. And that's because those who may not know about nutrition, they are eating too much sugar, and that gets converted to body fat readily, so that the pancreas doesn't work overtime, and so a person isn't pushed toward diabetes. But a lot of times metabolic syndrome includes diabetes and includes other diseases that are caused by not necessarily the body fat that's stored on an overweight person, but the how they got overweight in the first place. And that means eating the wrong foods, and so eating all these distorted molecules that the body doesn't recognize and tries to deal with, and so goes into an inflammatory response, and there it goes, this cascade effect that ruins people's health. So this study, apparently they just went ahead and took a look at how the cocoa, in this case, was able to help people control their weight. So I thought that was very interesting that a plant like this, and I know of many other plants that can help people control how their body utilizes fat and prevents the body from storing too much fat or using the fats to for energy, because fat is the body's energy reserve already. So this study talks about obesity, lack of physical activity, poor nutrition. So this is, kind of another subject that I've covered many times in my other YouTube channel videos, and also with my members in other areas, in other situations. We meet in various capacities. But anyhow, so it's also characterized as a low-grade chronic inflammation with irregular inflammatory responses, weak antioxidant capability. So these antioxidants are found in the plant kingdom, and that's why the plant kingdom is so beneficial for our health. And also, it's been found to help lower insulin sensitivity, resulting in inflammation, oxidative stress, and insulin resistance when your body just can't take that insulin out of the bloodstream anymore, and the pancreas stops working and diabetes starts, setting in. So now they're talking about here polyphenols, which is a huge classification of plant compounds known to attenuate the inflammatory responses of stressors, which could be the physical health or environmental toxins, or how the body responds to stress and excess calorie intake, the wrong types of calorie intakes kind of thing. So the polyphenols are so great, and they're found in fruits and vegetables and beverage too, like coffee and tea and wine and dry legumes and chocolate and cocoa products. So they are definitely present in the plant kingdom. So eat your veggies. Grandma was right. Eat your fruits and vegetables. They're so, so beneficial. They're healing, they're restorative, they're detoxifying. Okay, so anyhow, it looks like they're talking more about the testing that has gone on with the polyphenols here. So then they go on to talk about how they're classified, according to their chemical structure and all these sub-classifications of them. But I like the way they go through. And now this is a peer-reviewed study, which means they've gathered many, many studies from many scientists from all over the world, and they have put them together into one document. So you'll see throughout this report that they gathered the most valid scientific studies on this. Now, this shows just a group of scientists that came up with very credible information about the cocoa. So yeah, I mean, and then they have great charts here. And so if you look closely, you'll see the processes that the scientists went through to come to the conclusion that cacao, or excuse me, in this case, cocoa, is good for you. So what I wanted to point out on this particular study, as you can see, they really tell you the details. They gathered all this information from so many different groups of scientists. As you can see, here's a group here. And so they just go on and they collect them and they note them. They don't, the peer-reviewed panels do not take in the studies that are done incorrectly or have inconclusive evidence or maybe have been compromised in some way. So when you look at a peer-reviewed study, you know that you've got the best information. All righty, so they talk about the results that happened, once all these scientists study the cocoa and the results that came about. So the science is out there, and it's very encouraging for people to go through and just prove to themselves that something like the cocoa or the cacao is good for you. So this one in particular, it talks about the body weight, the weight loss that was reported, the body mass index, the BMI. So they use that as the primary or secondary outcome measure. So anyhow, they were measuring, they were taking anthropometric measurements, and so that means different areas like the waist and the arms and things like that. So some of the studies, they have to be objective, that they didn't find any changes in body weight and BMI, but then other studies did. And so they examined how were these studies done. And so the ones that didn't see the difference, there were marked differences in how they arrived at their conclusions. Okay, so we have to be careful when we look at individual studies. They may not be something that you can rely on. So when you look at the whole spectrum of studies that are done, then you'll see a pattern emerging, and you'll see the outcomes match. And so that's when you come to the conclusion that, okay, cocoa or cacao, they are great for helping the body adjust its body weight and utilize the fat reserves in the body. So that's what this article talks about. I thought it was really interesting. And I try to stick to only, actually, I stick to only the peer-reviewed studies. That's the most credible ones. So, they talk about gathering all this information from all these different scientists, how they measured the oxidative and inflammatory markers. So, apparently they took these tests and they found out that people were able to neutralize the foreign substances or even stress chemicals the body produces, to neutralize them so they don't do damage, they don't result in inflammation or inflammatory responses. And those are the main issues for so many health issues. So anyhow, they're talking about how many clinical trials they reviewed and all kinds of good stuff, right? And they always have the discussion for those of you who are lay people and are not used to looking at technical, scientific data. Then you can always look at the introduction at the beginning of the study and also the discussion at the end. Okay, so now this is what they conclude, and I'm just going to pick out something at random here. So let's say cocoa polyphenols have been previously suggested to lower cardiovascular risk by modulating the lipid profile and blood pressure. So it modulates how your body uses fat. It tends to be able to burn the body fat and not store it as readily. And also in doing so, when you have blood pressure that is regulated and attenuated by a plant like this, then you're going to have an improvement in how the kidneys work, because the kidneys regulate water in the body. So yeah, this was a pretty good overall, for beginners. And those of you who have been, around and studying, I should say along with me, we've been doing this together for a while. And I'm sure I'm like preaching to the choir with you ladies. So, but yeah, this is for the benefit of anybody who wants to come and join the True Health Mastery and find out just which foods to eat and which foods to not. And if they have health issues, what can be done to attenuate or recover, from their health issues. Alrighty, so that's what I wanted to show you. And you can always look at the conclusions. You'll see that in conclusion, all of these studies that we reviewed show that the cocoa is good for just regulating how your body uses fat. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that one. Let's go to the next one here. I need to turn on my fan because it's getting really warm in here. One moment, please.
Sure.
We don't get much in the way of winters here in Tucson, Arizona. So I know a lot of you out there on the other side of the country are probably freezing right now, but yeah, it's really warm where I am. And I just turned on my air conditioner too. Okay, so let's go on to the next one here. Cocoa and chocolate and human health and disease. Now we're getting to it. So again, they mentioned the phenolics, the polyphenolic compounds and the flavonoids and all these wonderful phytochemical compounds that are found in plants, and in this case, the cocoa. And again, they always refer it to cocoa, but when they talk about the raw cocoa, they should be referring to cacao, but for some reason these two terms are interchanged. All right, so yeah, just as a matter of knowing whether your cocoa is raw or if it's been roasted. And of course, like that said earlier, you can just roast something like the cocoa bean, or it's actually a seed. It's not even a bean. It's actually a seed. So you can roast it very slowly to try to preserve as many of those enzymes as possible. But enzymes are very, very fragile. They they are destroyed at 129 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's not very warm at all. So it's best to try to get the cacao, in my opinion. So they're saying here that cocoa can protect nerves from injury and inflammation, protect the skin from oxidative damage from ultraviolet radiation, and they're talking about topical preparations too. I didn't know cocoa was used in topical preparations. That's amazing. So, it also has benefits on satiety. It makes you feel full, and it aids the nervous system. So you've got a healthier nervous system. They call it, it's good for being able to think and reason and all that. So that nourishes the nervous system and the hormonal system that work together. So we've got better cognition and mood. It regulates mood. So that tells you that it has a positive effect on the hormones that the body produces. So let's go ahead and see what else is on here. They have a nice little table of contents here. Love those tables of contents. Let's see. So even if we read the table of contents, we can see that there's a lot of components to the plant. They've got the right types of fats, the healing fats. They've got the wonderful fiber, and it's full of minerals, especially if it's grown organically in nutrient-rich soils, and you're going to have a higher content of minerals, and the phytonutrient content, which is defined by the phytochemicals that are in the plants, like the polyphenols and their antioxidant activity. So, there's positive effects on the heart and the vascular system. So healthier, stronger, more flexible blood vessels, all these wonderful things, and effects on the endothelial function, which are cells that are part of the foundation for a lot of our organs. Our organ systems are, when you get down to the cellular level, then some of the cell types are called endothelial cells. So, apparently people who have been drinking the cocoa have been finding that they have many health effects about it. And of course, this has all been studied and reported on. Okay, so coronary circulation, good for the heart circulation. Aren't you glad, Ruth, that you love chocolate? I don't know where she went. Okay.
I'm here. I'm
Effect.
just muted. I was
Okay.
giving you a thumbs up. Yes.
Oh, okay,
My
great. Yeah,
obsession
I
with
don't see
chocolate.
everyone. Awesome. So it also has an effect on platelets. So if you scratch yourself or get injured, and you're bleeding, then the platelets that form there over the injury are going to heal it and form a scab and whatnot. But if it's happening inside the arteries, then that can be dangerous, right? So you don't want any damaged arteries. You don't want that kind of repair work going on. It could block the circulation and end up as a stroke or a heart attack. So it has positive effects on preventing any damage in the arteries. So you don't want those kinds of things going on inside there. Effects on the fats that you consume in the seed of the cocoa, and all kinds of blood pressure benefits. And let's see what else. Effects on insulin resistance. So the pancreas can it's better able to take out the blood sugar, to take it out of the bloodstream, because you don't want an abundance of blood sugar at any one time in the bloodstream, because the pancreas can malfunction, and then you've got all kinds of problems. You can go into insulin shock and start this diabetes, horrific disease. So it has positive effects on that immune function. So even the immune cells love the cacao phytonutrients that are in it. Carcinogenesis, apparently, scientists have found that it has been able to prevent the formation of cancer cells. Positive effects on the central nervous system, on the skin. And we've already just, talked about the effects on obesity and the psychoactive effects. So it will help your body produce the kinds of chemicals that are going to oppose the stress chemicals your body produces under stress. So it's going to counter that and mellow you out and make you feel better. So it's more of what I call happy food. There's plenty of other happy foods out there because of their phytonutrient content, and they're going to help elevate the moods, perceptions, the hormones that promote a good mood, kind of thing. So, hey, cacao and cocoa, for from what I can see, is a pretty good food. Now, we're going to talk about the bad stuff. They put in a lot of chocolate, so you have to be careful what products you go out and buy. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you for that. Let's go on to the next one here. It gets better and better. What I discovered tonight, earlier today. All right, so Oxidative Medicine and Cellular Longevity, that's the name of the journal that this was taken from. This is the group of scientists that reported this. So they title it Cocoa Polyphenols and Their Potential Benefits for Human Health. Now we're getting into a little bit of redundancy here, but I wanted to show the audience and my members, if you don't already know, that there are so many different studies on individual plants. You can look up any botanical, especially one that we consider food or medicinal, or superfood or something like that. And there are thousands of studies out there, hundreds of thousands of studies that are reported in hundreds, maybe thousands of scientific journals that I have discovered in my research over the years. There are so many scientific journals out there, and you have to be legitimate studies, legitimate journals. There are maybe a lot of publications out there that you'll find on a casual search on the internet that may not be the kind of standards that the scientific world community upholds. So you're going to get a lot of stuff on the internet that may appear to be credible, but make sure they're peer-reviewed scientific studies, if I could get that out. Okay. So again, it's polyphenols. You see now there's so many scientists throughout the world that have discovered these polyphenols. And of course, like I said, there's so many others that are a subclassification of the polyphenols. There's mouthfuls of these things. Epigallocatthis. I can pronounce this. I usually do. Epigallocatthicin gallate. All right, and that's in green tea. I mean, we've got curcumin from turmeric and quercetin from all these other food sources. So there's many common phytochemical compounds that are good for the body in many different plants, but it's a synergistic variation of these combinations that makes the plant so unique and can address so many issues in various different body systems. Okay, so as you can see, this is full of, all these other studies that were looked at and compiled into this one report. It's just amazing. So, they're talking about the polyphenols. We know that they help regulate so many different and protect so many of the functions of all these different body systems. And if you like the way, the schematics look on these molecules, then you can tell that they're hydrogen, oxygen, double bonds, single bonds. I mean, there's just, you can really get into the chemistry of it. And, they're just telling you the molecular structure of all these different phytochemical compounds that are part of the polyphenol family. Okay, and of course, they're going to be talking about the bioavailability. What does that mean? It means that once you digest something, it gets reduced down to the most basic fundamental molecule. And at that level, that's when it's allowed through the cell membrane. Our trillions of cells is what compose the entire body. Different kinds of cells compose different body system tissues, right? So you'll be able to absorb the nutrients through the cell membranes readily when the DNA, our genetic instructions, determine that they are safe to allow inside the universe of our cells. Inside the cell, that's where everything happens. Your health is determined on the functioning of your individual cells in your body. Okay, so they just really get into some of this intestinal absorption, antioxidant properties, scavenging activity. So these antioxidants are able to neutralize what doesn't belong in the body or stress chemicals that the body produces that cause this inflammatory cascade effect and can hang around for a very long time. If you're not highly nourished with plant in the plant kingdom, then you're going to perpetuate an inflammatory condition. So the plant kingdom is very, very, very proven to be very effective for reducing that kind of inflammation. So yeah, cocoa, cacao, it's a good food, but let's make sure that you're not choosing products that have been altered and have been things that don't belong in the body have been added to these formulations, some of these candies out there or some of these beverages. So they're proving once again, and this is a whole other group of scientists and a whole other group of peer-reviewed panelists who have determined that cocoa is definitely a good thing. lipoprotein, how your body handles proteins and the fat molecules from the fats that you take in. So they talk about what's happening at the cell level. So you can really get lost in the physiology of it all. It's for me, it's fascinating. I'm hoping it's starting to get more and more fascinating for people out there. And I think it's fascinating for my members here because we've been through a lot of information together. Okay, how are we doing, everybody? Are you still with me? Okay, so here's a chocolate comparison. I think I enlarged this too much. All right. So they always compare the organic versions to the non-organic versions. It's always best to choose organics because they have very rigid laws to be able to put that green USDA organic fee, gosh, I can't even talk, organic seal on a food. So anytime you see that green seal, then you know it has not been allowed to the plant materials were not used in the way of spraying pesticides on them. They're not genetically modified with pesticides in their DNA of the plants. There's no artificial colors that are so aggravating to things like the kidneys and the liver and the digestive system and things like that. They're environmentally friendly farming practices. They're clean, simple ingredients. So conventional chocolate doesn't make the grade at all. You get all these check marks on the organic, but not the conventional chocolate. So it's best if you're going to enjoy organic, then chocolate, then you want to make sure that you choose the organic. Yes, they're a little more expensive, but your health is worth it because you're preventing a lot of very expensive, debilitating, expensive, medical bills and shocking surprises that will debilitate you physically and mentally, psychologically, emotionally, right? You want to avoid all those nightmares. Why go through that when you can just pay a little extra? And because you will be so highly nourished, you won't have the cravings and you won't need to eat as much because you'll be nourished already. The concentration of nutrient density in organic foods is so much higher and you'll be satisfied. You'll have more energy and that kind of thing. That's why it's a good argument for choosing organic, not to mention not supporting these companies that put out these toxic foods. They take a perfectly good cacao bean or seed and they turn it into something that's toxic by their processing methods and whatever else they use in their other ingredients. Yes, ma'am.
Question. Sherry and I were talking the other day, and she's noticed that as she's gotten older, if she eats chocolate, she gets heartburn. Is that because of the chemicals in it, or is it something else?
It could be a combination of other health conditions, but also, yeah, it has to do with which chocolate she's choosing, because I'll show you in a moment how aggravating and inflammatory all of these other candies are when they put
Okay.
when they deal with this. Yeah, we're definitely
Cool.
going to cover that. Yeah. So yeah, you have to kind of ask a lot of questions when someone's getting a reaction to what seems to be a healthy food. But let's take the worst of the worst, okay? First, let me show you the nutrition fact sheet that the industry puts out, the chocolate candy industry puts out. Hershey's is one of the worst because look what they put in their ingredients. High fructose corn syrup. So that is made from genetically modified corn, which DNA has been altered by the biotechnologies that insert insecticides or the DNA of other animals or insects into the DNA of the corn, of the genetically modified corn. So, and then they extract and highly process the sweetener extracted from it called high fructose corn syrup. And then they also add corn syrup. I guess it's not as highly processed or something, but they have to add it in twice. They put water in and then cocoa. And so I don't know what those adds a negligible amount of fat. Okay, don't worry about the fat in a healthy cocoa seed. Let's see what else they say. Contains sugar, which is likely genetically modified also. They don't say what kind of sugar. Anytime you see something that just says sugar, 90% of the time it's genetically modified and it contains, pesticide residues and that kind of thing. I don't know to what extent these companies are allowed to produce items that have pesticide residues in them. I'm guessing not, The organic industry is completely different, though. They are tested rigorously for these kinds of traces in their foods. 2% or less of potassium sorbate to maintain freshness. Now, that's a safe enough preservative, but you don't really need a preservative because of the antioxidants in the cacao. Xanthan gum, they don't need to add any kind of gum in it. Who wants to have a waxy tasting thing in their candy? That's not necessary either. Salt, why put salt in there? That contributes. When you have only salt, then that's only one of the elements. We have many, many elements that the body needs in the form of minerals, but they have to be in the right form, which means plant-derived forms. So, they don't say what kind of salt it is. It's not, they just don't say. Mono and diglycerides, they put in some fatty acids in there, but they don't say what the source is. Polysorbate 60, that's completely unnecessary flavoring, or no, that's I think that's a colorant or a flavoring. I don't remember. Vanillin, I don't think that is the natural form of vanilla from the vanilla bean because of the IN at the end of that word. Artificial flavor, they're not saying what flavor it is, and that's not nice. The computers, oh my goodness, consumers need to know what flavors they are and if they're synthetic or not. Artificial, that's pretty much telling you that's a synthetic flavor. So whatever that is, it's not going to be something that the body wants to tolerate. So this is completely intolerable. The body will reject every single one of these, and it will create chaos, and it could damage the DNA of our cells, the genetic instructions that operate the whole body, right? So, and this is a liquid, apparently, this fact sheet on this particular product, and then they test it, of course, and all these different contaminants, right? They've got minute amounts of these other contaminants, and then they're tested for bacteria. It came out negative. They better have come out negative with a so-called food product out there. I don't even consider this a food. It doesn't say anything. It's basically a syrup. Nothing the body can use at all.
The polysorbate is an amphipathetic non-ionic surfactant.
Okay. All right. So that is going to help the consistency of the product. That's not necessary either. Totally not necessary. Thanks for looking that up.
Yeah, it's used as an emulsifier in pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. Yeah, that's really what you want to be putting in your body.
Something that's on a synthetic cosmetic, great. That's not what you want. Definitely not. Okay, there's a couple more here. Let's go to the Hershey's website. I think I'm sorry to say, I'm going to say this because this is my institute and I can say what I want. I can say the truth, and not be censored anymore. We're being censored less and less with the revamping of our health administration in the government. So we're getting more and more of our First Amendment, like I can't talk tonight, First Amendment rights restored to us so we can talk the truth and not be censored. Anyhow, I don't know why I got this link. It must have been for some of the ingredients on some of the products, but it was pretty similar to that fact sheet. But as you can see, all of these Hershey's products, they are not organic and they probably contain those kinds of ingredients. So let's just pick one and see if we can get an ingredients very quickly so that we can move on here. Let's see which one. Hershey's Kisses, those are pretty popular, right? Let's see if they'll give us the ingredients. They should. This is just a purchasing area, so it's not really the website. A legitimate company, I should say, a considerate company will provide the ingredients. Maybe this is it. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this says. And it's too small to see. Let me see if I can enlarge it. And it's sideways. What the heck?
Oh.
So that's going to be too blurry. Can't see it, can you?
No.
Yeah. All right. So anyhow, you can tell by the ingredient list, it's probably here, But if you see an organic product, it's going to say cacao, period. And that's it. And it could have a natural sweetener, depending on if it's a candy or whatnot. but the organic ones are much better. So we can actually do a search on organic chocolate bar. Apparently, a lot of people have done that search on that phrase. Okay, so let's just pick one. What the heck? Organic milk chocolate. Now, milk chocolate is another problem, so I'm going to go over that in a moment. It's best to have the dark chocolate unsweetened, and if it's going to be sweetened, then you're going to have a natural sweetener in there that's not going to, be a problem on your health. But we can look at a milk chocolate bar. Milk chocolate just means it's got milk in it, right? So that's the only difference. Let's see if they give us the ingredients. All ingredients certified USDA. What you'll get, 38% cocoa content, organic milk chocolate. That's it.
Mm.
So other milk chocolate bars are not going to be so simple. They're going to have those other terrible ingredients on there when it's a non-organic chocolate bar, whether it's milk chocolate or not. So that's the difference between a milk chocolate and a dark chocolate, because you start out with the cacao and then you just add milk and it makes it lighter, in consistency there. All right, so organic chocolate bars. Okay, we just looked at one, so that's a good thing. Yeah, there's a dark chocolate bar, and they've got a crispy milk chocolate Easter bar. Let's take a look at this one first. I want to see what the Easter bar is all about, because if it's organic, I trust it. And obviously people are going to buy the bunny chocolate bar for children, right? Okay, so this bar has 57% cocoa, organic dark chocolate, and that is it. That's it. That's all that you get. And so you're getting pure cacao in there. It doesn't even say that it's roasted or anything. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's see what else it says. Dark chocolate, sugar, and that's an asterisk there, which means it should tell you that it's an organic sugar, but it doesn't say that
That
anywhere.
one is not a good one. It's got liqueur in it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that's a delicacy, right? They do add liqueurs to certain chocolates, and it's for grown-ups, right? I don't advocate any kind of liqueur or alcohol in anything, because alcohol itself, that's another subject we need to go over, what alcohol does to the body. So here we go. It's got the fat grams. Of course, cacao has a lot of great healing fats, so you're going to have a high content of the healthy fats in there. And not even any sodium in there. 17 grams of carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates. Total sugars, 13 grams. Protein, 2 grams. It's not going to be a protein bar. So you're going to have the dark chocolate and the organic sugar, because they don't allow anything there. Cocoa butter, and may contain milk, peanuts, soy, tree nuts. They have to put that in there when they're processing other things at the factories, right? I need to plug in my computer.
So this makes me come up with another question. When I buy chocolate chips, I have to be very careful, because now they've got fake chocolate chips that are made with chocolate liqueur for the flavor. They're not even real chocolate. So is this candy bar made from chocolate liqueur and not chocolate cacao?
Yeah, that's why you have to trust the organic. Anything that's not organic is going to have a variation, all kinds of things that are going to, just change the whole idea of having chocolate. So let's look up which, I was going to look up chocolate chips. I love chocolate chips. They're a great snack. You get a little handful and you pop them in your mouth with some nuts, and it's just a great dessert,
Oh, I can't. They're too sweet.
That's what I mean. So if you were to get non-organic chocolate chips, you're going to get a lot of sugar. Even if it says semi-sweet, it's probably too much sugar, right? So if you get organic chocolate chips, it's probably going to be dark chocolate, or if it's milk chocolate, it's going to have a lot less sugar in it. Semi-sweet, let's see, where are the organics? Organic baking chocolate gems. They look like chips. Yes, dark chocolate baking chips. Let's take a look at that.
And now, if they say baking chips, they're not real chocolate, is what I have learned.
What?
Even if it's organic?
Yeah, they're made from liqueur, chocolate flavored liqueur.
Okay, here's an organic baking chocolate gems. They're chips. Organic cacao, organic unrefined coconut sugar, which is a very safe sugar,
Okay.
organic coconut butter. That's it. So this
Oh,
particular
okay.
one, you can't have that kind of adulteration of a food like that if it's organic. The organic industry does not allow it. Corporations may not be following the laws of organic, but they're supposed to, or they would get fined, you know. So yeah, this was a good one. There's a lot of good. Anytime you see an organic, just read the label and make sure that's all you're getting. Look how simple these ingredients are. They're so amazing, right? Where'd it go? Yeah,
There.
just a couple of sentences. That's it. Certified fair trade ingredients, that's another plus.
Yes.
Okay, so organic dark chocolate chips, 1,000 count. Oh wow, let's buy that one. I'll buy 1,000 chips, but you have to keep them refrigerated because of the fats in them that we can go, oxidized. But let's find a non-organic chocolate chips and see what they have. Like you said,
Okay, so I just learned something. I looked up why is chocolate flavored liqueur in chocolate bars. Chocolate liqueur is the purest form of chocolate made from, I just lost it, made from ground cacao beans. It is used as a base for all types of chocolate and adds depth of flavor to baking. The percentage of chocolate liqueur determines the taste and texture of different chocolate varieties. Moderation is the key when consuming chocolate liqueur due to its sugar and caffeine content. Interesting.
yeah, so you don't want to, if you're going to enjoy chocolate, why buy a chocolate liqueur? That doesn't make sense. It's not healthy. If it has alcohol in it, it's going to be detrimental to your health. And, just a regular, simple, organic chocolate bar is going to satisfy your body much better. You're not going to have any kind of inflammatory response from it. You're going to improve your cardiovascular system. It's going to help speed up the metabolism a little bit, and so it's going to be contributing to to a healthy body. So Girardelli, let's see what they say. They're not organic. And I've looked at these ingredients over the years and they're always the same. They're not good.
They're not good.
Okay, here's one. All right, so Girardelli, good for them. But you have the pesticide residues in there. You have the genetically modified. Cane sugar generally is not genetically modified. So that's a good thing. Cocoa butter, you don't know if what they put in their cocoa butter ingredient, it could be a hydrogenated trans fat, and instead of just, the fats from the cocoa, milk fat, soy lecithin, there it is. Okay, soy. If it's not organic, 99% of the soy crops out there are genetically modified. So that has been shown to damage the nervous system, to disrupt the hormones, even cause farm workers have been subjected to these pesticides and genetically modified crops. And the women who work out there in the fields, they have come up with birth defects, all sorts of inability to procreate, that kind of thing. So soy lecithin, lecithin is a good thing. They misspelled lecithin. I see that. Vanilla extract. Again, which kind of vanilla extract? There are synthetic vanilla extracts that are horrifying. If you ever look at the labels, ethylene glycol is one of the ingredients in the non-organic vanilla extract. Why would you want to put something that's used in car batteries or in some kind of chemicals that are used in the car industry in your food? So those are known carcinogens. They cause cancer. So this is my point. Even though they have what appears to be good ingredients, could very well be genetically modified. If it's not organic, the chances are very high that they contain the altered DNA of these plants that I call frankenfoods, that our DNA can get damaged from. Our DNA is always reading plant DNA. That's what's great about the plant kingdom. Our DNA uses that to repair, as my members know. All right. Is that good? Are you good, Ruth?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. All righty. So that's what I wanted to show everyone. just the ingredients, the differences between the non-organic and the organic, the difference between cocoa powder and cacao. The more raw food the body gets, the more enzymes that the body has to work with to perform all of its not even millions, trillions of cellular processes that keep us alive and thriving. You put the wrong molecules in the body, then the body's going to suffer in some way or another. All right, so I'm going to end the call for the public, and I will speak to my members privately. If you'd like to join the True Health Mastery, I will show you where to join. True Health Mastery Institute, that is. Holisticchoices.com, and this will be in the links provided, below in the description box by the time you see this video. And then you click on True Health Mastery, and it'll explain to you what we're all about. True Health Mastery Institute of Holistic Personal Health Management. And so it'll give you the introduction as to what to expect as a member. And if you'd like to join, you just click here and it takes you through this very easy process to become a member. And if you're already a member, you happen on this page, you can log in here. And, just more information about all the benefits you get from being a member, all kinds of perks. I treat my members like gold because they are gold to me. Okay, so yeah. So and if you have any questions, you can type in your name and your email address and just type in your question, and I'll be happy to answer anything you'd like out there for you. All righty, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to the public, and please hang on with me, members. All right, I'm going to stop the recording one moment.